asset badge. That's what it gives crypto. Crypto is a legitimate asset now. And not to mention that BlackRock is the largest asset manager. Large firms already get expressions of interest and can see the levels of demand. BlackRock and others flip their lobbying and marketing money to making Bitcoin a safe haven and media-wide coverage, cleaning up the image. So he's analyzing how BlackRock getting a ETF approved leads to a flow of capital coming in because the BlackRock firm will change the perception of Bitcoin. Okay? Here's another example. So he's saying, basically he's arguing here that getting clients when a new ETF launches is really important because once a client picks an ETF, they tend to stay with it forever. And also, when you buy Bitcoin in an ETF, in 5 years, you're probably still holding Bitcoin through that same ETF. It might be worth 5-10 times more than what you bought it for. So let's say at the beginning of this ETF, $1 billion goes into Bitcoin. In 5 years, that might be worth $5-10 billion. And so the money that they get from fees and holding the assets, as the asset is going up in price, increases. And so getting the money in early is super important for those number of reasons. The fact that as the money goes up in value early, they actually make way more from holding the money in from fees. And when a user picks an ETF, they tend to stay with it. So you've got to get the client, be the first one, right? And so that's an analysis of flows. Why is that important? Well, all these firms are going to be marketing heavy at the start because they need the users ASAP, because they know how important it is. And so that means there's hundreds of millions maybe going into marketing, which is basically a big marketing campaign to buy Bitcoin. That's going to bring a new flow of capital in, which is going to make the price go higher. That's flows analysis. Every asset manager in the world is basically long Bitcoin. They don't have directional exposure, but a 10x in the price of Bitcoin is a 10x in yearly management fees. So the higher the price of Bitcoin, the more money that they make, right? Because the value of the asset is higher, the fees are higher. So, this guy is referring to what this guy's saying here. I think he said Kang. Yep, Kang. This basically involves massive ad spend, shilling Bitcoin at every public appearance, and advertising all their clients to get exposure to Bitcoin, right? This is flows analysis. Again, another post by Fred Krueger. So he had lunch with an old ex-Salomon, ex-UBS friend, and basically he hasn't got Bitcoin because he has to use a hardware wallet. And he doesn't want to own MSTR because he views it as a second-tier software company. And he almost will certainly buy the BlackRock ETF when it comes out. There's no sense in waiting 2 years if this is the beginning you wanted to buy Tesla in 2020, not today. There are a lot of people like him, and their advice is taken by a lot of other people who trust Gian Francois. TradFi is all word of mouth and relationships. So in the old school TradFi world, it's very much about word of mouth marketing, very much about communications. You meet people in real life for dinner, for coffee, at networking events. All the rich people tend to hang out together in person. In crypto, we tend to all message, and it's like a little Discord, Telegram group messaging universe. But in the TradFi world, it's all about relationships and dinners and golf clubs and all these in-person meetups. And that's where the sort of conversation builds around this stuff. So once these ETFs start coming out, people start investing in them, they start making money from them. They go to the golf club with their 5 friends who all have $1 billion company each, and one of them says, yeah, I made a bunch of money on Bitcoin, it's got an ETF now. Yeah, BlackRock has this ETF. And they're like, oh, wow. And so then all these billionaire guys ring up their financial advisors and say, hi, I'd like to put in, I want to get into the Bitcoin thing. I see it's got an ETF now. Can we do it? Yeah, well, you're with BlackRock, so you can easily buy it. How much would you like to put in? Let's start small. Let's put in 0.5% of my assets. Okay, easy, done. We'll do it today. Boom. That's the phone call done. And that's the analysis that he's doing here. And that's an example of flows, right? What did that example just show? It just showed that when this ETF gets approved, because of the word of mouth method of communication, and because of the fact that rich people hang out with other rich people, and because of how they need the ETF for them to want to buy Bitcoin. This is going to, when it comes out, lead to a new inflow of capital from these new wealthy investors. Okay? So at its core, crypto and generally, markets in general, is a game of understanding flows. Where's the money going to go? How much? How do I get the best exposure to that flow? How much flow is waiting for it to get easier to buy? Markets are simply supply and demand. More demand comes from inflows. If you know where the inflows are going in future, you can profit. When you know the flows, the coin becomes easy to pick. So, for example, to mention Toshi again, Toshi was an easy pick because I just asked myself, if Coinbase wins, which I think it does, it sends the money to Base because they've already said that from the employees that I've spoken to at Coinbase, from the internal documents that they have about what their plans are. It just makes sense. And then what do they buy when they're on Base? Well, obviously the meme coin performs best. Every single cycle, every single chain, the meme coin pretty much always performs best. Maybe not 100% of the time, but 90% of the time. So, okay, well, it just makes sense. Toshi's the face of Base, right? And that makes the coin selection easy. I didn't have to research 100 different fucking coins on Base. I just knew there's 2 meme coins, Toshi and Mochi. Toshi's better. That's all I had to do. That's literally the extent of that analysis. And so instead of looking at all these ecosystem projects in Base, which performed fucking terribly, I just went straight to the best performer because of a very good filtering process. When you know what sectors to focus on, you drop the potential coin selection by 90%. And when you see the incoming outflows from token unlocks, you're able to better time entries and exits and identify the coins you must avoid with terrible tokenomics. And so that's another point as well. You have to be able to identify outflows. So you have to be able to look at token unlocks. If there's a big token unlock coming, maybe you need to look into taking profits before the VCs get unlocked and dump it on you. So that's another thing to consider as well. Now, one thing I said here is how much flow is waiting for it to get easier to buy. So in the game of flows, something else you need to consider is how easy or hard was it to buy the coin? Because when you think about it, the easier something is to buy, the less people who will probably buy it going forward. Because in crypto, when the coins get listed on Binance, that tends to be near the end of their rally. So look at Bonk, for example. Bonk got listed on Binance recently. And I think the rally ended after Bonk got listed. I think it went up temporarily. Yeah, it went up temporarily. But Binance was the exit liquidity. Now, why is that? Well, Binance is the exit liquidity because before it was on there, it was hard to buy. You had to bridge to Solana, you had to go to a DEX, and you had to buy Bonk. And Solana was considered the dead chain. So why would anyone be bridging to Solana? They thought it was dead. Oh no, now it's listed on Binance. Oh, well, it's easy to buy now. Boom, that's the exit liquidity. So you should have bought Bonk, for example, when it was hard to buy, when no one was talking about Solana. And for example, there was another coin called Space Mesh. Space Mesh was on this exchange called Safe.trade. Very, very sketchy exchange. And that was the only exchange that it was on, and most people had never, ever heard of it before. And the only other way to buy it was OTC, because the only coins that were coming onto the market were from people who were mining the coin, right? The people who were securing the network. That was the only way that coins were coming onto the market. So you had to buy directly from miners on the exchange. And so because it was so hard to buy, the market cap was a reflection of the fact that there's tons of people who might buy who haven't yet because it's just too hard for them. And so when this coin would get listed later on other exchanges, it opens the coin up to more investors. When it gets easier to buy, more people probably buy it. That leads to the price going up. So yeah, another consideration is there likely to be this coin getting more easily accessible in the future? Right? Is there a barrier to entry? Because the bigger the barrier to entry, generally the earlier and the lower the price that you're getting in at, assuming that later on it gets easier to buy. So if you're looking to buy, for example, something at a $10 million market cap, it's probably a really good fact. Sorry, there's a better way to say that. It's probably a really good thing that it's hard to buy. Like, you find a 10 million market cap coin, oh, fuck, I got to bridge it across to this shit chain, I got to do this and that. That's a good thing. That means you're early. Okay, and then when it gets to a later point when it's super easy to buy, that's when you want to be looking more so to sell. And this is also like the Bitcoin ETF. Right now, crypto's hard to buy because Coinbase is a pain in the ass. Every new guy I'm getting into crypto, I'm getting like a new guy in the crypto every week because of my brand. They're all giving me the same pain points. Fuck, I have to contact the support. You know, what's the difference between a spot wallet and a funding wallet? What is, like, why do I need to spend 3 days verifying my KYC? You know, why don't they let me withdraw to a random wallet? I have to prove that it's my wallet that I withdraw to. There's so much bullshit. Whereas when the ETF comes out, that opens it up to new people. So you can see that even though Bitcoin is quote-unquote easy to buy on Binance, Coinbase, it's still not as easy as it could be. And the ETF is is a very large step towards ease of access. And that's why it's bullish. Not only is more people going to buy it because more people know about it, but it's just more people can buy it because they couldn't before. Okay, so that's another consideration of tokenomics there. Now, what else have we got here? The harder it is to buy, the more likely the coin is mispriced as it becomes easier to buy over time. Now, let's see if I missed anything. I think that's pretty much everything. Yep, that looks good. So let me bring it back to the key points, the key considerations of flows. So see if I can put this mic and hold it there. So I would say, how hard / easy is it to buy? Is it going to get easier, harder in future? Who is your exit liquidity? Who are you selling to? Why do these people want to buy? Why will this group of people want to buy? And what is going to drive the capital flow, right? Is the sector already popular, or is it under or is it mispriced? Right? So all of these, questions is what you need to ask yourself when you are doing flows related fundamental analysis. And if it's hard to buy, gonna get easier to buy in future, you know who your exit liquidity is, you know who you're selling to, you know that they're not in the market yet, you know that they're gonna want to buy because they love these coins, you know there's a particular couple catalysts or reasonings for why the capital is going to go there, and the sector's not currently popular, but it will be in the future. You can basically guarantee that you're going to make money. And that's what this is all about. It's about this course is all about making crypto so easy that if you get all of these boxes ticked off, then you can basically be guaranteed to make money. That's the goal, right? You tick off all these different questions, and what I'm going to have at the end of this course is a little like cheat sheet, like thing to fill out, right? How many points out of 10 did this fundamental, characteristic get? All right, let's do flows analysis on this coin. What score out of 10 did we get? Did we get all the questions answered, right? When you can answer all these questions and say yes, 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 and it's a big yes for all the different sectors, basically guaranteed to make money. So that's flows. Hope that made sense, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.